Hello, Tennessee. Let's get this presentation started. My name is Santiago Escanape. I'm running to be governor of the state of Tennessee. In this 2026 election, I'm running to be governor of the state of Tennessee. I'm running so on the platform of modernization and defense. That's modernization and defense. What does modernization mean? Modernization means economic integration. It means having the best data. It means having the best infrastructure so that we can integrate our economy and we can modernize our economy. We can modernize the state of Tennessee. Defense means we want to be the equivalent of the defense capital of the United States. The state of Tennessee wants to be the defense capital of the United States. If we have modernization and we have defense, then we're running the state properly. Let's start with economic integration. That means all of the institutions of the state of Tennessee put their resources forward to move our economy forward. That means the armed forces bases. That means private employers. That means universities. That means state departments. All of the institutions, and this is for economic integration, all of our institutions have to put forward their energy, put forward their resources so there can be robust results in terms of our economy. We want a GDP of 7 to 9%. That's what we're aiming for. In year one, 2027, the 4-year term is 2027 and 2031. We want a GDP of 7 to 9%. 7 to 9%. Nationally, we're at 2%. And we want a state GDP of 7 to 9%. So when we integrate economically, that means all of the institutions of the state put forth their resources to move the economy forward so that there's maximum economic output. And that way we have a GDP of 7 to 9%, which would be very impressive, I may add. And that's what we're going to have. We need the best data. We need economic integration. That means all the institutions put their resources forward to move the economy forward. We need the best data. If we have the best data aggregation practices, then we can keep track of these results. And we know as a state that we're doing everything we can to make everything possible. So if we have the best data collection, the best data aggregation, the best data governance, the best data collaboration, then we can keep track of our 7 to 9% GDP. We know for a fact that it's a reality, that it's happening, and that it's having a meaningful impact in Tennesseans' lives, in everyday people's lives. So we need economic integration, we need the best data practices, and that's how we modernize Tennessee, and we need the best infrastructure. When I speak about infrastructure, I speak about non-traditional infrastructure. It doesn't just mean transportation, it doesn't just mean roads and bridges. It means our communication systems. It means our technology systems. Because when we have the best data, when we want all the institutions to put their resources forward, then Tennesseans and the institutions, they have to be able to communicate effectively. And that means if we're integrating economically our economy effectively, then we need the right infrastructure to make that possible. We want our infrastructure to be pristine. We want our data architecture to be pristine so that this economic integration and this modernization can take place in all 3 regions of Tennessee, all 3 geographic regions of the state of Tennessee. It's like conducting an orchestra. It's like a symphony. And a governorship is an economic movement, and it's 4 years' time. And there needs to be the right crescendos and the right peak moments. And then it's a system of non-regret. When the 4 years are up, we don't regret anything. Instead, we look back on the momentum. We look back on the results yielded, and we say impressive. We don't say regret, we say impressive. And that's what we're going for with modernization. And with defense, modernization and defense. With defense, we want the state of Tennessee to be the defense capital of the United States. We're going to invest heavily in defense infrastructure, in defense technology, We're going to move forward everything defense spending oriented. We're going to push it to the limit. That's going to help our economy tremendously because it leads to a more stable economy, it leads to increased spending, leads to more job creation, but also it's going to protect us from risks, technological risks, from weather-oriented risks, from all types of geopolitical risks. So we have a well-controlled, well-managed population with thriving industries and an economy to be proud of. I'm an economy-first governor. I think about the economy first and foremost. Even when I speak about defense, the economy ties into it, obviously. Defense spending is an effective way to keep that GDP high. It really is. That's what we're going to do. So it's modernization and it's defense. Both categories very important. In 4 years' time, we're going to see Tennessee become more modernized. And we're going to see Tennessee be effectively defended. And that is all for now. Just a brief rundown of what the platform is. And substantively, I think we have the most impressive platform because we're keeping in mind the needs of the state. And it fits like a glove because it's a substantive policy platform where with modernization and with defense, the state of Tennessee is not going to be disappointed. No regrets. Instead, we're going to say impressive. I spoke briefly about transitions. We're very prepared to mobilize a transition so that in terms of executive orders, in terms of moving into the governor's mansion, the governor's residence, in terms of shifting, we're going to have two committees, a modernization committee and an economic initiatives committee. Those two committees are going to be interconnected. They're going to coordinate together to yield the best results for the state. And in terms of transitions, we're the most prepared to mobilize the most expediently, the most effectively, the most immediately a transition so that there's not a lulling moment between, 2026 and the previous administration. We're still dealing with some of the economic issues of the current administration. And when that's done, we're prepared to transition into the governorship role very effectively, very neatly, everything in a cohesive package so that we don't waste time. One of my biggest fears is wasting time because that leads to suffering results, which we don't want and which we are going to avoid altogether. So I'm Santiago Escanape, modernization and defense and a smooth transition. A transition where from day one, we're going to see these 7 or 9% GDP figures, these 7 or 9% GDP numbers. That's from day one because I already have the transition trajectory organized and in order. So thank you so very much for listening. I'm Santiago Escanape, and on November 3rd, November 3rd, 2026, we elect the 51st governor. We have to make sure Santiago Escanape becomes that governor because with modernization and with defense, the state of Tennessee is looking good. We're going to see some very impressive results. Thank you so very much for listening. May God bless you. And we'll do another presentation here in the very near future. Thank you, and thank you.